The fluorescent lights flickered overhead. They cast a sickly glow across the aisles of All-in-One, a large department store offering a variety of goods. John Tall, the new overnight security guard, leaned against the cold metal railing of the security desk, staring at the empty checkout lanes. It was his first solo shift, and the store had felt more like a labyrinth than a retail space. John pushed himself off the railing. The air was still, the kind of silence that seemed to press down on him. As he took a deep breath, the scent of dust and stale air filled his lungs. It was just him, the shadows, and the weight of anticipation causing his heart to drum in his chest. Just a few more hours, John whispered to himself, trying to calm his nerves. He had trained for this. He thought he was prepared. But now that he was alone, he questioned every sound. As he began his patrol, the eerie silence followed him. The rows of mannequins dressed in the latest fashion seemed to tower above him. The blank eyes stared back. It gave him a shiver. They felt like watchers, judging him. He shook his head, pushing the thought away. "Get a grip, John," he murmured. The store was massive, each section sprawling out like a dark sea. John thought it was strange that he was the only security guard they hired. Surely with how large the store was, there should be at least one other guy. But there wasn't, and he had to get used to being alone. He turned down the home goods aisle. It smelled strongly of old plastic and polyester. Then a flicker in the corner of his eye caught his attention. He turned sharply, but nothing was there. Just the shadows playing tricks. He continued patrolling, but unease settled in his stomach. He swore he could almost hear whispers, soft echoes that pulled at the edges of his sanity. "It's just the wind," he assured himself, even though he knew the store was sealed tight. Moving deeper into the aisles, he felt a sudden temperature drop. Goosebumps prickled his skin, and that's when he saw something. A figure at the far end of the aisle, barely illuminated by the flickering lights. John squinted, trying to make sense of it, and while he couldn't quite see its face, he had a strong feeling that it was staring back at him. "Hello?" he called out, his heart still racing. There was no response. He slowly began stepping closer. As he neared, the figure became more clear. It looked just like him. Same height, same build, even the same dark uniform. John's breath caught in his throat, and he stopped walking forward. Who are you?" he demanded. The other John remained silent. "Hey, this isn't funny," John said, taking a step back. "Get away or I'll have to call for backup." That was a lie. He knew there was no backup. He just hoped that the doppelganger didn't know that too. It took a step forward, its movements fluid, but wrong, like a reflection in a cracked mirror. John stumbled back, his heart pounding out of his chest as he turned to run. John darted down the aisles as fast as he could. Behind him, he could hear the sound of footsteps following, almost mimicking his every move. He rushed past the rows of clothes and hollered out, "Leave me alone!" Next, he burst into the electronics section, the screens flickering with images of happy families, all oblivious to his terror. He pressed his back against the wall, trying to catch his breath. The footsteps stopped, and he heard a voice, soft and familiar. John. His name. It echoed like a haunting melody. John clenched his jaw, forcing himself to stay quiet. John, it's okay. You're safe. The voice was his own, but twisted, distorted. It felt like a siren call trying to lure him out of hiding. He felt the urge to respond, to turn around. But instinct screamed at him to stay put. Come here, John. The voice coaxed. You don't have to be scared. He shook his head, his heart racing. No, this couldn't be happening. Suddenly, the other John appeared at the end of the aisle, stepping into the light. It smiled, but the expression was too wide and too eager. Why are you doing this? John cried out, backing away. Because you're me. You've always been me. Reality twisted. The walls of the store closed in. John felt a pull, a magnetic force drawing him closer. He fought against it, but it wasn't strong enough. The other John stepped closer, invading his space. We can be together, John. We can be one. You don't have to run anymore. With a surge of panic, he turned to escape, but the store felt like a maze. Every aisle led him back to his doppelganger, waiting, watching. Please stop! John cried out, but it was too late. The echo of his own laughter filled the air, a cruel reminder of his own fading sanity. The last glimmer of hope slipped away as the other John reached out and touched him on the arm. A cold rush surrounded him, and everything faded to black. In the morning, the store's manager found the security desk empty. All that sat there was John's backpack, with the contents of it spilled out all over the floor. One item in particular stood out to the police during the investigation. It was an empty pill bottle. The label had been torn off, but there were words written in marker on the side of the bottle. Take 1 pill daily, and he won't show up, it said. Law enforcement were confused by what they had found, but even more confused about where John could have gone. 3 weeks later, customers began to complain about a horrible smell coming from the grocery section. The smell was coming from behind the meat coolers. The employees pulled the cooler out, and what they found left everyone horrified. It was John's dead body, decomposing and surrounded by flies. All-in-One was temporarily shut down, and John's death was eventually ruled an accident.